Tonight, learning more about a young woman who lost her life in Elmont.
A lot of pruning that does happen actually makes trees more risky.
The unthinkable freak accident has some property owners double-checking their own trees, with safety top of mind. At the height of the heat wave, nowhere to swim.
As opposed to a class of 4 to 5 students and having lots of room to do lengths. My daughter yesterday was in a class of 9, so she was bumping into people while doing lengths.
Why this big Parkwood Hills community pool is closed right when residents would be enjoying it most. And is keeping it locked up enough to keep it from rolling on its merry way.
2 of my colleagues' bikes were stolen, again in the locked unit, and then a colleague of mine at CHIO, same thing, working an overnight shift.
The season for bike theft, what cyclists need to know. Good evening. We are learning more details tonight about the tragic death of a woman in Elmont after she was struck by a large falling tree branch. Friends and family saying despite her strength, her injuries were too severe. She was hit by the tree while out for a walk last Tuesday morning at the intersection of Ann and Church Street. CTV's Austin Lee is following this for us today and joins us with the latest. Austin.
Now, Patricia, we now know the identity of the 34-year-old woman. A GoFundMe account has been set up as well to help cover end-of-life costs and to help support her family. A wave of condolences for Kelsey Ellis flooding social media after she was struck by a large tree limb last week in Elmont. After nearly a week in hospital, police were told Sunday she died of her injuries. The tree limb fell just one day after a storm in the area. It's still not known what caused the branch to fall, but based on images and video, arborist Mason Hanrahan says there were some warning signs.
My impression is that it had some significant risk factors that could have been noticed by a qualified arborist prior to the incident. There appears to have been cavities on one side of the tree and a column of rot developing along the middle of the trunk.
The municipality of Mississippi Mills declined to say whether the tree was on public or private property, citing the ongoing investigation. Either way, the incident is highlighting the importance of proper tree maintenance.
Often when I am inspecting trees and providing recommendations, I'm seeing problems that I could have completely fixed 20, 30 years ago with proper pruning. And now I can only offer Band-Aid solutions.
Hanrahan says more people need to stay on top of the trees on their property to avoid potentially devastating outcomes.
Start a program of structural pruning early and definitely focus on looking for arborists who have credentials.
Those who knew Ellis, remembering her as a vibrant and kind person who is deeply loved. Her sudden death leaving her family and friends in shock and in grief. Meantime, the municipality's mayor also extending her condolences to the family, saying in a statement, on behalf of council and municipal staff, our thoughts are with the family and loved ones during this profoundly difficult time. Patricia.
CTV's Austin Lee live for us tonight. Thank you. And you can scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen to link to us online or visit ctvnewsottawa.ca. We do have more details on all of those condolences that are pouring in for Kelsey Ellis. Well, during a heat wave, many families head out to their neighborhood pool, but a popular outdoor swimming spot in the city's West End has been closed on and off since June and is not expected to reopen anytime soon. General Burns Pool is on Chesterton Drive in Nepean. CTV's Dave Charbonneau explains why it's closed.
Yellow caution tape and an empty swimming pool. This is the General Burns Pool on Chesterton Drive in Nepean, closed in the middle of a week-long sweltering heat wave.
I like General Burns more, but it's closed.
For area residents, taking a dip or doing swimming lessons now means a walk or drive to Crestview Pool.
We normally bike to General Burns, but they accommodated us to come here, and at least the lessons weren't canceled.
The General Burns Pool was shut down in the middle of June, reopened and shut down again because of water quality issues.
Just this morning, the city informed me that they're now expecting that the pool is going to be closed for the next couple of weeks, while our maintenance staff and our contractors figure out what's the problem and make the necessary repairs.
With General Burns swimming lessons moved to Crestview, capacity is at its limits.
It's just a lot more students per class, so as opposed to a class of 4 to 5 students and having lots of room to do lengths. My daughter yesterday was in a class of, I think, 9, so she was bumping into people while doing lengths, and it's just not as much space for them to swim.
But some are just taking the closure in stride.
These things happen. It's an older facility, General Burns that is, so it goes with the territory. But this is it's a new facility, and so we're happy to be here.
Maybe for kids that have to walk or bike or something, absolutely. We can drive, but I'm sure those that don't drive and they have to walk, it's definitely an inconvenience.
For Elisa Rassi, she's just happy her kids still have a place to swim.
They're able to still do their swimming lessons. That was my biggest concern. Yeah, I don't think it's too crowded.
Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
Well, new inflation numbers out tonight, and while Canadians are feeling the cost of the tariff war with a lot of things getting more expensive, the latest numbers suggest things are actually worse for our neighbors south of the border. CTV's Stefan Keys is here to explain that, Steph.
Yeah, the numbers tell a very interesting story, Patricia. While trade negotiations are ongoing and the cost of Donald Trump's tariffs are showing up on both sides of the border, the inflation story does suggest that we're coming out on top, even if it isn't by much. So as Canadians and Americans dole out more cash for some of life's necessities like food at the grocery store, Americans are reportedly seeing the cost of items rise faster than Canadians. Inflation shot up south of the border last month to 2.7%. Meanwhile, Canada recorded an inflation increase of 1.9%. Again, not as high, but still enough to make things financially uncomfortable. And so let's break it down into more specifics. Again, overall, inflation jumped to 1.9% last month here in Canada, an increase from the 1.7% we saw in May. Vehicle costs are up for both used and new cars, and that's at 4.1% for June. Clothes and shoes up about 2%, and furniture prices have seen a noticeable increase of 3.3%. But those shopping say even if there was fair warning, some prices are coming out of the woodwork for them.
I bought it late, boy, and the price was very high.
The cost of living is definitely not equivalent to what an entry-level job or even a decent paying job.
Now, economists are looking at how these numbers could influence the next lending rate decision coming out at the end of the month. Some economists are already calling for the Bank of Canada to do a third straight interest rate hold. Canada's economy has proven to be more resilient than some thought, but Canadians are still feeling the pinch, Patricia.
All right, CTV's Stefan Keys live for us tonight. Thank you.
Still ahead with increasingly frequent hits of extreme weather. How will our power grid fare? Concerns it's not designed to handle what Mother Nature is dishing out. That story coming up.
And the heat is what is being dished out tonight in a big way as we take a look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is 31 degrees out there right now as we're in the middle of this string of 30-plus degree days. You want to be near the water if you possibly can. On the water, maybe even better. CTV's Jackie Perez out at the river for us today. Are you actually out in a boat tonight, Jackie? Because that's a pretty cool gig.
We are. I am not hating today, Patricia. Yes, it's hot. Yes, it's humid. But when you get views like this, just the locks as well as Chateau Laurier, and just hanging out on the Ottawa River for, I would say, the last 2 hours, yeah, sweet gig tonight. Taking a look at our conditions, I do want to remind people that the heat warning is still in effect for Eastern Ontario. The good news is the air quality statement no longer in effect for here in Ottawa, as well as along the Seaway. So conditions have improved since yesterday. But again, we talk about that heat wave sticking around. We've got humidex levels between 35 and 40. So right now here in Ottawa, 30 degrees, but feeling more like 36. Very similar for Kingston and Brockville. Down by Bancroft, feeling more like a 34. And as we look towards Mont-Tremblant and Montreal, it's a lot hotter there with temperatures feeling closer to 38. Taking a look at tonight, cooling down to about 20 degrees for our overnight lows. Clear skies. Clear conditions will continue into tomorrow. Well, yes, it will be the hottest day, 33 degrees, mainly sunny, but it will feel closer to 40. Take it in, though. Stay as hydrated as you can. And then by Thursday, we are getting some more rain on the way. We will get to those details in just a bit. But so far tonight into tomorrow, very clear conditions. We are hanging out with Discover Boating Canada, and we will be talking to them in a little bit. But for now, we'll take it back to you in studio. Patricia.
All right, thank you. Well, a 60-year-old man has died from his injuries after he was allegedly assaulted by his son in Gatineau last week. Officers were called to a home on Promenade Lakeview in Aylmer around 6:15 Friday morning. A man was found with serious injuries. He was brought to hospital where he later died. He has been identified as Conrad Robinson. His son, 21-year-old Shay Brown of North York, has been charged with manslaughter. Friends of Robinson tell CTV News he was loved by his entire community and will be greatly missed. A 29-year-old man is facing charges in connection with a double stabbing over the weekend. Ottawa police officers were called to a home on Beret Snow Street in the Thorncliffe Park area Saturday night. Police say 2 victims and the suspect were drinking together when a fight broke out. The suspect allegedly stabbed the 2 people and ran away. Both were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect was later arrested and charged with assault. Well, there are changes coming for transit users which could help some passengers save money. Starting August 1st, anyone paying to ride the bus or train with a Presto card will not have to pay more than the cost of a monthly pass. This means customers who do not buy monthly but exceed the cost of one will not be charged for those trips. For example, an adult monthly pass is $135. So if you don't buy a pass but ride the bus frequently, you will not be charged for any trips that exceed that $135 worth of fare fees in a month.
It's automatic if you have a Presto card to receive our different, discount programs. You have to get a Presto card and register for those, but this will just be rolled out automatically.
Fare capping is already in effect for debit and credit card users. Gatineau Beach is closed until further notice because of a possible spill. The National Capital says swimming is prohibited at the beach at Lac Leamy Park. Other water activities are also not recommended. The NCC did not say what spilled into the lake. The park, pathways, and picnic areas are still open. Prime Minister Mark Carney held a virtual emergency meeting with his inner circle today to discuss U.S. President Donald Trump's latest tariff threat. And now the Prime Minister appears to be modifying his messaging, casting doubt on Canada securing a tariff-free trade deal. CTV's Rachel Aiello reports.
I expect that the discussions will intensify between now and the end of the month.
Staring down an August 1st deadline, today the Prime Minister convened a rare summer cabinet meeting to discuss U.S. President Donald Trump's latest 35% tariff threat. With the goalpost moved again, Carney lowered expectations that Canada can get a deal that would result in Trump dropping all tariffs, noting that so far no country has managed to secure a tariff-free trade agreement with the U.S.
It certainly comes off as a bit of a wake-up call.
It's an admission this lawyer, who used to litigate for Canada against the United States, says sends a clear signal to businesses.
If a baseline tariff does look like it's going to stick, then all of a sudden you can't operate in that environment forever, and you have to make real lasting decisions with respect to your customers and your suppliers.
Trump today sounded more optimistic about how talks are going.
We're negotiating with Canada right now, and we'll see how that all works out. I think it's going to work out very well.
This comes as data suggests Canadians are split on their confidence in Carney delivering a deal. New polling shows 63% of Canadians surveyed said they want the Prime Minister to push back and take a harder line in negotiations, while 37% prefer a softer approach.
Domestic confidence is going to be important. Carney needs to feel like he has a mandate from the people of Canada.
Carney campaigned on a promise to take on Trump with his elbows up. But since winning the election, even as the president has ratcheted up the trade war, Canada has not levied any new retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
And stay with CTV News for continuing coverage of the trade war and ongoing trade talks between Canada and the U.S. For updates on radio, tune into Newstalk 580 CFRA and CTV News channel at any hour.
When it was stolen, we felt really horrible, really angry and violated.
You think you're doing something good for yourself and for the environment using 2 wheels as transportations, then you walk outside and that bike is gone. How to prevent becoming a bike theft victim next. Jackie.
Thanks so much, Patricia. Marie-France McKinnon, you are with Discover Boating Canada. Just tell us a sneak peek of what we can expect from our interview down here at the Ottawa River.
We're going to chat about the different ways to get on the water this summer. You can own a boat, but there's other alternatives. So we'll chat about discoverboating.ca in a little bit.
All right, just take a look at these fantastic views here. And hey, let's light our eyes to the Centennial Glass Sky Cam. This is a live shot. We are on the Ottawa River right now here. Chateau Laurier, Parliament Hill, Kaweki Point, all the beautiful shots here. Sun shining. It is 30 degrees, feeling more like 37.
Well, taking a look at your drive home tonight. Not a terrible drive home on a Tuesday. Moderate volume overall. Seeing some slowdowns. Parkdale, Carling area eastbound. Westbound not looking too bad right now. Certainly into the hot, hazy days of summer when the traffic tends to lighten just a little. And with summer now in full swing, many people are commuting around the city in other ways, by bike perhaps, but bike thefts are a growing problem in Ottawa. CTV's Tyler Fleming has tips on how to protect yourself from thieves.
When it was stolen, we felt really horrible, really angry and violated.
Elizabeth Gottman says the theft of her husband's bicycle was surprising.
And he parked his bike in what he thought was a secure location.
A locked cage in a parking garage.
It took 4 minutes for this guy just to very casually cut the fence of the unit, enter through the front door, and then cut the lock.
Gottman, a doctor at 2 Ottawa hospitals, is hearing similar stories.
2 of my colleagues' bikes were stolen, again, in the locked unit. And then a colleague of mine at CHIO, same thing, working the overnight shift.
More than 1,400 bicycles were reported stolen in 2024, a rising trend, especially in the summer months.
It's going to get stolen if you don't put a lock on it. So, yeah, definitely a precaution you need to have.
There's so many locks out there, but the best one you can kind of get is a U-lock.
Which Mitch Craig with Kunstad Sports says can cost under $60.
One of the best ones you can get is this U-lock with the cable in it. So the U-lock, again, is very, very sturdy. It's very, very tough to cut through. And this cable actually allows you to feed it through things like the wheels, the seat post to kind of, maximize what from your bike you're able to lock up.
And to minimize opportunities for thieves.
You also want to take as much off the bike as you can as well. So any little accessories you might have, take them with you.
Police say registering your bike with 529 Garage can also help those within its network to identify stolen bikes. And if you do see a theft in progress,
do not intervene. Gather as much information as possible, like area, what the person looks like, time of day, and let us do our job and hopefully recover that bike.
Another helpful source, Stolen Bikes Ottawa on Facebook, where victims like Gottman can share pictures and information.
Unfortunately, his bike was never returned. Now he has another lock, another bike, not a fancy bike, just a commuter bike and a better lock, and so do I.
Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Well, it is still hot and humid, but things have improved slightly since yesterday. The heat warning does remain in effect, but the special air quality statement has been lifted. The heat wave is expected to continue, though, through Thursday, with temperatures up at the 30-degree mark or higher. But if you are out on a boat with a breeze, then maybe you don't care too much. Jackie, how does it feel out there?
Oh, man, this is a great way to beat the heat, Patricia. Just hanging out on the boat along the Ottawa River, taking in some pretty amazing views and some iconic landmarks here along Ottawa. Now, taking a look at conditions right now, it is 30 degrees, but feeling more like 37. There is a little bit of clouds, but for the most part, it is sunny, and there is a little bit of the haze conditions left over from the smoke that we saw yesterday. But we talk about the humidity. That's sticking around until Thursday. So look at tomorrow, 33 degrees, feeling like 41. And the thing is that it's going to stick around, or that's going to be the hottest day for this week. For Thursday, 30 degrees, feeling more like 38 to 40. There is expected to be a little bit of rain activity making its way to the region. And then Friday, you'll notice a cooling difference with cool air coming in at 26, the daytime high, feeling closer to 28, 29. As we look to tonight's lows across the region, temperatures sitting between 19 and 20 degrees. Bancroft a little bit cooler at 16, as well as Mont-Tremblant, but Montreal still things are going to be hot overnight. 23 degrees is the overnight low. Meanwhile, tomorrow, temperatures, we did mention tomorrow the hottest day that we'll see for this week. 39 is what it's going to feel like for most of eastern Ontario. As we look towards even Montreal, 40 is what the humidex is going to feel like. Now, we talked about the storm. That's making its way in Thursday. We're likely going to see a lot of that coming in the afternoon, the heaviest hitting around 4 p.m., even 5 p.m. We are keeping an eye out if there is a risk of thunderstorm as well, but it is expected to clear out just after 7 o'clock. But there might be a little bit leftover of a little bit late rainfall and light drizzle. So again, we are closely monitoring the weather system making its way in. Now, across the country, you can see that Atlantic Canada, the hot weather is still making its way to the Maritimes. 28 degrees for Fredericton, but then you could start to see temperatures starting to cool as we make our way west, where temperatures are sitting in the teens. So you can see Regina, Saskatoon, 19 degrees, Vancouver, 25 degrees, but not as much humidity as what we had for the last week and a week and a half, really. As we look towards our 7-day forecast, brought to you by Davidson Hearing Aid Centers, celebrating over 80 years in family business. We can see that as we look to Thursday into Friday, the overnight low is 13 degrees. Then it's going to be 26 and sunshine for Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday shaping up to be pretty decent. 27 degrees is what we're averaging. And yes, we could see a little bit of rainfall for Sunday. But hey, the next 3 days after we get through for Thursday, of course, with the heavy rainfall, we're going to be in for some beautiful sunshine, as well as some gorgeous, gorgeous weather. And maybe the humidity will lift slightly, just a bit. But for now, we're going to hang out here on the Ottawa River as we take in Discover Boating and ways you can get on the water. And you don't have to own a boat, and you don't have to rent it. So we'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Patricia.
All right, look forward to it. Looks lovely out there, Jackie. Thank you. And our next news is the CTV National News at 11 o'clock. CTV's chief news anchor, Omar Sachedina, joins us now with a preview. Omar.
Patricia, thank you. Tonight, extreme weather leaving Canada's power grid exposed.
The grid that we have today has not been designed for accommodating such extreme scenarios.
How high-tech is stressing the system, but also providing solutions for the future. Later on CTV National News, but for now, Patricia, it's back to you.
Grid that we have today has not been designed for accommodating such extreme scenarios.
We're taking a look at this as well. You know how hard your air conditioner has been working, and you are not alone. Just how the power grid is coping during this heat wave as extreme weather increasingly puts it to the test. That is coming up.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, CTV Morning Live, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Well, from extreme heat this summer to extreme cold in the winters, you've probably noticed wild weather swings over the past few years, and that is putting massive amounts of stress on our power grid. There are now warnings that in the next 5 to 10 years, half of North America's population could be at risk of blackouts. The newest recipient of the Sachedina CTV News Fellowship, Rukshar Ali, reports.
Extreme weather events have left thousands of Canadians without power, sometimes for weeks. And climate change could make it worse.
The grid that we have today has not been designed for accommodating such extreme scenarios.
Between 2013 and 2023, Canada's 10 most significant weather events that impacted power grids caused about 20 million electricity interruptions to customers.
More shortfalls can occur during these extreme weather events, and it poses a serious concern for reliability.
A recent report from the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC, found that most provinces were found to be increasingly vulnerable during extreme weather, putting them at risk of shortfalls. Nova Scotia, one of the most vulnerable.
We've had Hurricane Dorian, Hurricane Fiona, which is the biggest storm we've ever had in Nova Scotia. We had Hurricane Lee, we've had wildfires, floods, pretty much everything, and all of those have weakened the power system.
Utilities like this in the province are taking some future-proofing steps by swapping out older poles with stronger ones.
The lightning hits, and all of a sudden there is a short circuit.
At the University of Toronto's Grid Modernization Centre, Ali Hushiar and his team are running real-time simulations using super-powered computers to find solutions. One solution is smart technology. That includes sensors and software to communicate information along the grid, to make supply decisions faster and to minimize disruptions when the grid's under pressure. Climate change isn't the only factor putting pressure on the grid. So is increased demand, with more people using everything from electric vehicles to heat pumps.
We're going to need more wind, more solar, more hydro, more nuclear to be able to meet the challenges of the future.
And the artificial intelligence boom is another potential challenge. Massive amounts of electricity needed to run thousands of servers.
10 years ago, if we were told that 10 years later, one of your biggest challenges is going to be AI data centers, people would think that this is just science fiction.
The major challenge is meeting Canada's energy needs before demand outpaces progress. But with more frequent extreme weather events and more strain on the grid, that task is becoming more urgent. Ruxar Ali, CTV News, Toronto.
On tonight's Big Picture, shocking video out of New York where torrential rain has caused flash flooding.
Attention passengers, and I can't open the doors, it's not safe.
This is wild in New York City. Floodwaters rushing through the subway stations yesterday, stranding passengers inside trains. More than 5 centimeters of rain fell on Central Park in the span of an hour. In New Jersey, where the governor has declared a state of emergency, 2 people died after their car was swept away by floodwaters. Well, now some other stories you need to know right now. It may take you a little longer to commute through the city in the coming months. A section of a major arterial road is now closed to traffic. CTV's Stefan Keys joins us now with the details on this and other stories. Steph?
Patricia, part of the Queen Elizabeth driveway closed this morning for construction work on the Patterson Creek Bridge. The closure affects the section between Pretoria and 5th Avenue and will be a lengthy one. The road isn't expected to reopen until October 31st, but pedestrians and cyclists will still have access. An open-air fire ban is now in effect for Ottawa as the heat wave continues. The ban applies to campfires, agricultural and brush pile burns, and wood-burning outdoor fireplaces. And it applies even if you have an open-air fire permit. Ottawa Fire says there will be zero tolerance for those who go against the ban. Soccer fans hoping to attend the 2026 World Cup in Toronto and elsewhere can start applying for tickets on September 10th. Fans are being encouraged to visit FIFA.com/tickets to register and create an ID, which will be needed to enter the first ticket draw. It's not known when the draw will take place, but tickets will be released in phases. Some tickets are already available for Canadians willing to pay. Premium packages start at $2,500 for a single game and climb as high as $40,000.
Mr. Scout.
The nominations are out for this year's Emmy Awards, and Severance, an Apple TV original, is leading with 27 nominations. HBO original The Penguin is in second place with 24. Seth Rogen's The Studio in Season 3 of The White Lotus also picking up 23 nominations each. Original shows produced by streaming platforms such as Apple TV and Netflix are dominating this year's nominations, Patricia, and I love to see it. I don't know what you're binge watching right now, but I just finished Mary Kills People. Very good. Filmed on this side of the border.
Sounds fun.
It's gritty.
I've seen a season of White Lotus.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of Severance. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I like those. The best thing about all of those shows, though, is that you're not paying $40,000 to be able to watch them.
Exactly.
Right? Those ticket prices.
Tickets.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, got to call on the rich friends.
This is also, well, yeah, call on the rich friends for this, too. If you want to head out on the boat, if they have a boat. Jackie's got some friends out there on the river, but there are ways to get on the boat, even if you don't have the rich friends, Jackie.
That's right. Making friends with Discover Boating. Patricia, I'm joined by Marie-France McKinnon. Just talk to us about what is Discover Boating.
Discoverboating.ca is a website. It's a go-to resource to figure out ways to get on the water. So from a boat calculator, so if you're not sure if you can afford a boat, to what kind of boat are you looking for? We have boat dealer finders and you can find whatever information you're looking for to get on the water, and that's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I know especially for this year, a lot of people are sticking closer to home, finding ways to beat the heat, but also trying to find, staying in the city and finding unique ways to enjoy the summer. This is just one of them. Talk to me about just the relationship between Discover Boating as well as Freedom Boat Club.
So there's owning a boat, but there's also other ways to get on the water. And that's what we're trying to get Canadians excited about, is you can own a boat, but you can rent a boat. There's peer-to-peer rental. There are boat clubs like Freedom Boat Club, which is the beautiful Tri-Tune that we're on today here on the beautiful Ottawa River. So there's different ways. And the beautiful thing about Freedom Boat Club, for example, is that you don't need to know how to dock a boat or how to drive a boat. They coach you through all of it until you're comfortable to get on the water. So it's a great way to get people to dip their toes in the water.
Talk to us about the boating community here in Canada, but even here in Ottawa. What's it like? I mean, we are surrounded by so many water channels here.
Most people don't know that in Canada, we have the most lakes and rivers. So no wonder Canadians feel like boating is part of our culture. I mean, there's two seasons, right? There's hockey season and then there's boating season. So that's what we're trying to get people excited about, is check out discoverboating.ca to find out how and where you can get on the water from boat dealers. We have so many dealers here in the Ottawa area. Type in your postal code to find your local ones.
Thank you so much. And we will be talking to Freedom Boat Club in a little bit, just to learn about the relationship as well. But you also have this beautiful view behind us, landmarks. Rideau Falls, one of your favorite spots to check out here on the Ottawa River?
I love the Rideau Falls. The kids are always excited about it. And don't forget, there's a boat for everybody and for every budget. So get on the water.
Thank you so much, Marie-France. Really appreciate you taking the time. Again, we are going to be enjoying taking a little trip down Ottawa River, Patricia, taking some time to enjoy the sun and finding ways to beat the heat. And we will have more information for you in just a bit.
Seeing a lot of the sites that so many of us have only seen from one riverbank or the other. So amazing. Love that, Jackie. Thank you.
Nationally, we have seen a little bit of a flat line across the market in home sales, but Ottawa's weathering the storm.
Well, coming up, we are checking in on Ottawa's delayed spring real estate market, a better month in June, and some renewed interest in condos, even as the bottom has fallen out of that market down the 401. That's coming up. Well, it was a sluggish start to Ottawa's spring real estate market, but there are signs things do appear to be picking up. According to the Ottawa Real Estate Board, prices and home sales were up in June, and Royal LePage says the condo market in particular has seen notable increases in prices and activity compared to Toronto's condo market, which is depressed, as many of you know, with supply up and demand very soft there. We want to take a closer look at this. Joining us now is Tyler Posadovsky, a real estate agent at Remax Absolute Walker Realty. Did I get that right?
You did. Nailed
right,
it.
Good stuff. So I know Jeff Walker was in, I don't know, a couple of months ago and saying, you know, we will get a spring market, but it's going to be a little bit later.
Yes.
Are we starting to see that? We're into summer now. Is this kind of the spring market now, or did it get a late start?
Definitely a bit of a delayed fuse, for sure. But Ottawa's market the forecasts remain to be some of the most optimistic in comparison to some of Canada's other largest cities. So nationally, we have seen a little bit of a flat line across the market in home sales, home prices specifically. And that's due to a lot of economic uncertainty that's been happening with tariff threats and otherwise. So that's definitely caused quite a bit of a standstill in the market, definitely a bit of a cooling. But Ottawa's weathering the storm. We definitely see that historically as well. Ottawa tends to have a lot of economic resilience when it comes to weathering these kinds of storms, and that's largely due to government employment, which has always been very predominant here. And we also have a rising tech sector as well. So it's attracting a lot of talent to Ottawa, and we're seeing that continue. So definitely a bit of a delayed fuse, but coming into the summer market, we're starting to see things optimistically improve.
I know something I've seen just driving around, a lot of signs in the suburbs that have been up for a long time, maybe not selling very quickly there. And then in the core, something goes up, seems to go more quickly. Is it geographic a little bit as to what is hot and what is not?
Definitely, yes. So it's very mysterious, I will say. It's tough to analyze the market sometimes because you see in a specific neighborhood, it might be a certain class or category of home that's selling well while another is not, right? So comparisons in the freehold market from detached homes to townhomes, whether that's bungalow or two-story. There's differences between all of these categories. So you really have to dig deep and see what's going on.
Okay, so condos specifically, are you seeing an uptick in interest there? More first-time buyers considering a condo?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that condos are flying off the shelf like hotcakes at the moment. Definitely wouldn't say that, but there definitely is, comparatively, I would say, year over year, we've actually seen a bit of an increase in condo values in comparison to other cities. We can't really say the same, such as Vancouver, Toronto, for example.
Toronto specifically, a lot of people are familiar with. Did they just build too much when there was such an interest in condos and everything was on the rise and now they're stuck with that supply?
That's right, yeah. So I can touch on that as well. Obviously we're an Ottawa-based team, but we like to keep tabs on the Toronto market because whatever happens there, oftentimes there's a derivative of some kind in the Ottawa market. So, things are not looking very good in Toronto right now, in the condo market specifically. Sales are actually down about 75% in the condo market.
Wow.
So that's pretty significant. And it's like you said, it's an oversupply issue. So, it's also very important to note that a very large segment of Toronto's market is based on investor buying. So back during 2022, by the way, that statistic, I saw it somewhere, it's 75% from the peak of COVID to today. So back during COVID, things were selling very well. The prospect of building new high-rise buildings was very positive for these construction companies. And you fast forward to today, and those numbers are no longer working for those investors.
Not a good real estate, not a good investment right now, maybe at the moment, but people are still buying when they need to live in a home, right?
That's right, yeah.
All right. Tyler, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I hope it continues to improve.
Thank you very much.
And we have extended coverage of Ottawa's real estate market. There are more stories online at ctvnewsottawa.ca.
We bought into it, and we got swindled by a very smooth-talking couple of individuals.
Well, coming up, how criminals are using artificial intelligence to scam Canadians. We hear from 2 victims who just lost $60,000 in a cryptocurrency scam.
Ottawa is always on the move.
We're a big city
with a laid-back vibe,
where foodies love their sweets
and markets bursting with flavor,
wrapped up in waterways
and hot summer days.
This is a city where culture is on display.
And the future
meets the past,
where people come together.
Always proud,
often loud,
and positively the best place to live.
We move with you, Ottawa!
Well, in the last 4 years, Canadians have lost more than $1 billion to investment scams, and many of them involve cryptocurrency fraud. Victims may see a video or advertisement featuring a prominent politician or celebrity, but the ads are fake, often generated using artificial intelligence. Here's CTV's Pat Foran.
We got stung big time.
Donald and Ghislaine Perkins of Ottawa say it was in January when they saw a video of then Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland. She appeared to be talking about an investment opportunity that could make them rich.
I urge each of you to seize this opportunity and register for the project. I personally guarantee the safety of your funds.
We bought into it, and we got swindled by a very smooth-talking couple of individuals.
The Perkins started out investing just a few $100s, but eventually handed over their life savings of more than $42,000.
When we went to access the money, they wouldn't give it to us and said that we had to give them $10,000.
Mark Carney came on with a woman that is very prominent in the bank system.
Brenda Dion of Whitby invested in cryptocurrencies after watching a deep-fake video of Prime Minister Mark Carney.
Make your initial deposit. From that point on, the algorithm earns on your behalf.
Dion says after she handed over her banking information, the fraudsters cleaned out her bank account of $16,000.
I said, I don't want you taking this money out of my account. I said, stop taking my money.
fraudsters are using fraudulent ads on social media to get victims.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre says Canadians lost $310 million to investment scams last year, and $190 million involved cryptocurrency scams. Most frauds involved altered video using AI to make it appear someone is saying to invest in a platform which is completely fake.
If you're opening up your search engine and you're searching up a crypto investment, that the first 5 to 10 results, are going to be more than likely fraudulent platforms.
The Perkins have health problems and were hoping to boost their retirement savings, but instead lost it all.
I have a bag in my stomach, and I go to dialysis 3 times a week. This was a good portion of our life savings.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Well, coming up, Ottawa firefighters swoop in to help a baby bird of prey that fell from its nest. Jackie.
Thanks so much, Patricia. I'm loving being here on the Ottawa River. Sterling, you are with the Freedom Boat Club. Just talk about the relationship with Discover Boating.
Sure. So Freedom Boat Club, our mission is to get more people on the water, just like Discover Boating. There's many ways to get on the water: own a boat, rent a boat, or we're in the middle. Freedom Boat Club is a membership-based boat club where we buy a fleet of boats and our members join our club, do our training, and then get access to our boats on a regular basis. So it's boating made simple. We can take anyone who's never boated before and make them an expert boater.
Thank you so much, Sterling. Really appreciate you taking us out here on the Ottawa River today. Let's take a look at our Centennial Glass Sky Cam, where we are showcasing Lansdowne. Temperatures sitting around 30 degrees, but again, with that humidity, feeling closer to 37.
You're watching CTV News with Patricia Bowl.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, the #1 Ford EV dealer in Ontario.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Well, here's a recap of the top stories we are following right now.
Structural pruning is extremely important. It's important that pruning is done by qualified arborists.
Well, there is grief and shock and questions after a woman hit by a falling tree last week in Elmont has died of her injuries. A lot of focus now on tree safety.
I had a swim class that whole summer, last year, at here.
Yeah. Frustration in an Nepean neighborhood as a popular outdoor pool remains closed for repairs during the height of the heat wave.
When it was stolen, we felt really horrible, really angry and violated.
Some cyclists raising concerns about bike thefts across the city this summer. And a final look at the weather, back out to the river and the boat. Jackie Perez has had a lovely time out there watching the conditions for us tonight, Jackie.
Rough day today, Patricia. Enjoying the sunshine along the Ottawa River, taking in some beautiful views like the Rideau Falls as well as here are the locks. And it will continue to be a beautiful time tomorrow. So maybe you won't be on the boats, but maybe you could come down here to the area and check it out because we're going to have some gorgeous weather for tomorrow, waking up to 22 degrees sunshine. We are getting to a daytime high of about 33. Tomorrow will be the hottest day this week. It's going to feel closer to 40. Then Thursday, a weather system is going to move in. We could expect some heavy rainfall in the afternoon. And then cool air is going to be making its way into the region. Friday into Saturday and Sunday, our humidex levels are going to drop. So that will be the good news. And that's it from us here, really. Nothing much left to say then. I hope you have a great day today because we certainly did this evening. We have the boat, we have the sun shining on us. Maybe we'll stick around for the sunset, Patricia and Stefan, but all that's left, I need to cool off. Does anybody have water here? Is that what's left here? I'm gonna see if I can catch this. Oh, Yep. Way to hydrate. To get back to you for now.
I think she's rubbed it in enough.
Right.
She knows exactly how jealous I am. Maybe not so much for you. You're not as much into the boating.
No,
as
no, but you know, I like to be outside.
In those kind of conditions when
And
it's hot
being
like
near
that.
the water is great. Maybe not on the water for me, but
yeah,
near
you
the
just
water.
wave from the shore. No chance of getting out on the water tonight because you are here manning the 11:30 newscast.
Yes.
What is our team working on, Steph?
Well, Patricia, we are going to be looking at something you brought up earlier in your newscast, but we're going to dig a little deeper and get more reaction. And so when it comes to fare capping in particular, the concept is fairly straightforward. If you tap your Presto card on a per-use basis, going forward, you will not pay more than a monthly pass, which is $135. But some wonder if that should actually be the case when OC Transpo seems to have a huge revenue problem. It definitely works in the favor of the consumer, but will it in fact work in favor of the struggling service? We'll have that story and more tonight at 11:30, Patricia.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Steph. And finally for us here tonight, a baby bird has been reunited with its family thanks to Ottawa firefighters. So this young merlin fell from its nest in a tree in Orleans Sunday morning. That's my first close-up look at a merlin, I think. A wildlife specialist was there trying to help the bird, but their 20-foot ladder wasn't tall enough to reach the nest. So firefighters brought in a tower truck and safely managed to return the merlin to its nest. Thankfully, it was not injured. Ottawa Fire says the mom was circling above the whole time. Probably a nice break from rescuing cats out of trees for
Right.
firefighters.
or people stuck in the rapids.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that, certainly. So, yeah, very, very sweet, cute story.
Yes.
Back in the nest. Nothing worse than an empty nest, I'll tell you.
Which nest are you talking about?
Have a good night, everyone.